God says this message has been blocked 3 times, delayed 3 times, but nothing can stop what heaven has already decided to deliver into your hands. You are reading this now not by accident, not by coincidence, not by luck, but because God Himself leaned forward, touched the moment, and said, "Let them see it now. Let nothing interfere." This message is meant only for them. Every second you feel pulled toward these words is a confirmation that divine timing is active, that the spiritual veil around your life is parting, that something you cannot yet see is aligning for your protection, your clarity, and your transformation. God says you have waited long enough, suffered in silence long enough, questioned long enough, prayed with tears long enough, and now heaven refuses to let you walk another day without knowing what has been unfolding behind the scenes for you. God says He knows that sometimes you feel like you are walking through life invisible, unheard, unnoticed, and unsupported. He knows the weight sitting on your chest, the heaviness in your spirit that you don't show anyone, the secret prayers you whisper when the room is quiet and no one else is watching, the things you had to keep inside because you didn't want to burden others. He knows the moments when you doubted your strength and wondered if you were losing your connection with Him, when in reality, you were walking directly into the part of your journey where faith is not a choice but a necessity. God says nothing in your life has been wasted, not the pain, not the confusion, not the disappointment, not the waiting, not the tears, not the delayed blessings. Every piece of your story has been preparing you for what is about to burst open in your life. God says the reason this message was blocked 3 times is because the moment you receive it, something inside you awakens. A shift begins. A new spiritual force is activated. There is a certain truth heaven wants you to carry, and darkness cannot stand against it. God says spiritual interference tried to create delays because this message carries clarity that would set you free from cycles, from fears, from doubts, from patterns that tried to keep you stuck. But God stepped in and cleared the path. He said, "Enough. Let them receive it now." And now you are here, reading what heaven wanted you to know long before you even understood why things were happening to you the way they did. God says you are safe. Nothing will go wrong with you. No hidden plan will succeed. No secret negativity will touch you. You have been wondering why you have felt unusual heaviness or unexpected emotional pressure recently, and God says it is because something new is coming into your life, something so bright that any lingering shadows try to resist it. But God says nothing can block a blessing that comes with His signature. What is yours will reach you. What is meant for you will not be taken. What is promised to you will not be denied. God says angels have been surrounding you closely in this season because you are stepping into a moment where spiritual clarity is necessary. Heaven is giving you signs, intuition, dreams, sudden thoughts, unexpected feelings. All of this is divine communication guiding you through the next steps. God says He sees the times when you almost lost hope, when you felt like everything you invested, your love, your effort, your loyalty, your patience, was going unnoticed. He saw every moment when you kept giving even when your own cup felt nearly empty. He saw how you stayed kind when others were unkind. He saw how you kept believing in the good even when life pushed you toward confusion. God says you did not lose anything for choosing goodness. You did not fall behind for choosing love. You did not waste your time for choosing loyalty. Heaven has been recording everything. Nothing is unseen. Nothing is forgotten. Every good seed you planted is coming back to you multiplied in a way that will leave you speechless. God says this message is urgent because you are closer to a breakthrough than you realize. You are standing at the edge of a moment that will shift the direction of your life. You may not see the full picture yet, but God says you will soon understand why things had to happen this way. The confusion you had was not a sign of failure, it was a sign of transition. He needed you to release certain attachments, certain expectations, certain illusions so you could step into alignment with what He is bringing to you next. God says He heard your prayers, even the ones you whispered in fear, even the ones you didn't know how to speak fully. And He responded, not with rejection, not with delay, but with preparation. God says someone tried to discourage you, someone tried to break your confidence, someone tried to make you doubt yourself, someone tried to make you question your worth, but they failed. You may have been shaken, but you are not broken. You may have felt confused, but you were never abandoned. You may have walked through storms, but you were never unprotected. God says you survived things that should have crushed you because grace placed its hand on your shoulder every time you thought you couldn't go on. You kept going because heaven was carrying you. You kept believing because God was strengthening you. You kept moving forward even when the path felt uncertain because deep in your spirit, God was whispering, "Don't give up. There is more for you. There is a purpose for you. There is a blessing ahead." God says He is proud of you for continuing even when you felt exhausted. He is proud of you for not giving up on yourself. He is proud of you for holding on to faith even when life tested you beyond what anyone else knows. He is proud of the gentle strength you carry, the silent courage you show, the invisible resilience you have built through every trial. He says your heart is pure, and your intentions are good, and because of this, heaven is preparing something extraordinary for you. Something you didn't expect. Something you didn't see coming. Something that will make you realize that none of the waiting was in vain. God says an opportunity is coming into your life that will feel like a door opening after a long season of closed ones. It will feel like relief. It will feel like clarity. It will feel like divine timing. You will understand why the doors you wanted earlier did not open. They were not meant for the version of you that existed at that time. But now you have grown. Now you have matured spiritually. Now you have learned what you needed to learn. Now you are ready for something that aligns with your destiny, not your temporary emotions. God says this is why He blocked certain situations, connections, and paths that seemed good to you at the time. They were not meant to carry you into the future He is preparing. God says you are not behind in life. You are not late. You are not forgotten. You are right on schedule according to divine timing. What feels delayed to you is actually perfectly aligned from heaven's perspective. God says everything you lost is going to be restored in a way you didn't imagine. Everything that slipped from your hands will be replaced with something more stable, more loving, more secure, more aligned. Nothing you were meant to keep has left your life. Anything that walked away was not part of your destiny moving forward. God says there is someone in your life who has been thinking about you more deeply than you realize. Someone feels drawn to you but doesn't know how to express it. Someone has been wanting to reach out, to reconnect, to explain something, or to say something that has been sitting in their heart for longer than you think. God says clarity is coming regarding this person. You will soon understand their intentions, their feelings, their truth. What has been hidden will be revealed. What has been confusing will become clear. What has been silent will soon speak. God says the next few days will bring signs, small and big, showing you that heaven is shifting things around you. A sudden burst of intuition, a dream that feels too real, a feeling you cannot explain, a message that appears at the right time, a thought that keeps coming back. These are not coincidences. These are spiritual signals guiding you toward what is meant for you. God says trust these signs. Pay attention to them. You are being guided. God says you are divinely protected. You are spiritually covered. You are safe. Nothing will go wrong with you. You may have felt nervous or uncertain, but God says the situation you are worried about is under His control. He has already gone before you. He has already arranged a solution. He has already placed angels around you. You have nothing to fear. Nothing to worry about. Nothing to doubt. God says keep trusting. Keep praying. Keep believing. Something is shifting. Something is aligning. Something is coming. Something is opening. You are about to step into a moment where everything suddenly makes sense, where the weight lifts, where the path becomes clear, where the breakthrough arrives. God says this message was blocked 3 times because spiritual forces knew what it would activate in you. But nothing can block what God has decided you must see. You are chosen. You are protected. You are guided. You are safe. And God is with you, now, in this moment, and in every step ahead. God says this message was blocked 3 times, but nothing can block what is meant for your soul. Nothing can silence what heaven has written for your destiny, and nothing can interrupt the whisper that has been trying to reach your heart. God says, let them see it now. Let nothing hide this from them anymore. And as these words finally open before you, a calm warmth settles around you, almost like invisible hands holding your shoulders, guiding you gently, reassuring you softly that you are not alone, you are not forgotten, and you are not stepping into anything dangerous. God says you are protected, watched over, and carried by divine hands. What you are reading right now is not something ordinary, it is something heaven fought to get to you, because your spirit needed it today, your heart was waiting for it, and your destiny was silently calling for it. God knows how many times you felt like you were standing at the edge of something important, right at the doorway of a breakthrough, but then something unseen pulled you back. You wondered why your blessings felt delayed, why your prayers felt like they were floating unanswered, why moments of hope suddenly shifted into silence. What you didn't realize is that there were spiritual obstacles that tried to keep this revelation away from you. That's why this message was blocked 3 times, because someone, something, some force understood that once you receive this message, once you read it until the end, once your heart absorbs what God is about to tell you, nothing will ever be able to hold you back. You will step into a new chapter that no one can close. And that is exactly why heaven insisted that you receive this today. God says He is with you, and nothing will go wrong with you. God says He is lifting the weight that's been pressing on your spirit for months. There is a heaviness you've been carrying quietly, not telling anyone, not admitting it out loud, but God saw it. God saw the nights when you wanted clarity but instead received confusion. God saw the moments when you held your breath and told yourself to stay strong even when you didn't feel strong at all. God saw the betrayal you never spoke of, the wound that healed slowly, the disappointment that still sits like a shadow in your memory. You may have moved on from the situation, but the memory still lingers in your heart. God knows it all, and God has decided that this season of silent pain ends now. God says what is coming to you is not a coincidence, not a lucky moment, not an accident. It is divine timing. It is the blessing that was supposed to reach you earlier, but delays happened, interruptions happened, people interfered, situations got in the way, but nothing can stop God when He says let them receive it now. What was blocked is now released. What was delayed is now restored. What was taken is being returned. What was hidden is being revealed. This message is the beginning of a shift that will unfold in ways you never expected. You have felt spiritually sensitive for a while now, moments where your intuition suddenly became louder, stronger, deeper. You noticed certain people behaving strangely around you, certain conversations ending when you walked into the room, certain energy shifts that made your spirit alert. You tried to ignore it, telling yourself it's just overthinking, but God says it wasn't your imagination. You were sensing a spiritual shift happening around you. You were sensing the truth that heaven is now ready to reveal. You felt things because your spirit is awakening, rising, becoming sharper and stronger. And God allowed you to feel that way because He needed you prepared for what is coming. There is something God has been trying to show you. Something God needs you to understand before the next chapter begins. Someone's intentions are being exposed. Someone's true thoughts about you are being revealed. Someone who doubted you will soon witness your elevation. And someone who tried to interrupt your path will soon realize they were never powerful enough to stop you. God says the truth is coming out in a gentle way, not to hurt you, not to break you, but to free you. Because you deserve freedom. You deserve peace. You deserve clarity. You deserve blessings without manipulation, love without lies, and success without hidden sabotage. God says the reason you are reading this now, at this exact moment, is because the timing is finally aligned. Heaven has been rearranging things behind the scenes. There were battles you didn't see, protections you didn't know existed, interventions you never realized happened. God protected you from conversations that were meant to discourage you. God removed certain people quietly because they were draining your spirit. God redirected you when your heart was about to choose something harmful. And God placed you on a path that leads to something extraordinary. God wants you to take a deep breath now. God wants you to release the tension you've been holding inside your chest. You've been strong for too long. You've been surviving without rest. You've been pushing through without support. But God is supporting you now. God is clearing the road for you. God is lifting the burden, shaking the ground beneath your obstacles, dissolving the fog around your mind. You are stepping into a period of peace that you've never experienced before. A peace that doesn't disappear in a day. A peace that doesn't fade at night. A peace that stays with you, protects you, surrounds you, and strengthens you. You may not realize it yet, but you are entering a divine shift. A moment where your life will begin to reflect the prayers you whispered when no one was listening. God says you prayed with sincerity, with pure intention, with a heart open to healing. And God never ignores sincerity. God never ignores tears. God never ignores the prayer that comes from a wounded heart seeking comfort. God says, I heard you, even when you thought I was silent. There were times you felt like heaven forgot you. Times when you looked around and saw others receiving blessings while you kept waiting. Times when your effort didn't match your results. Times when your kindness wasn't appreciated. Times when your loyalty was taken for granted. God says those moments were not punishment. They were preparation. They were shaping your character, sharpening your wisdom, strengthening your spirit, and preparing your heart for blessings that require maturity. God says the blessing coming into your life now is not something temporary. It is something long-lasting, stable, meaningful. Something that changes your path in a permanent way. Something that brings joy instead of stress, clarity instead of confusion, hope instead of fear. Someone is going to speak truth to you soon, truth that will liberate you, truth that will comfort you, truth that will make you feel seen and valued. You have been craving honesty, and God is sending it. You have been craving stability, and God is providing it. You have been craving a breakthrough, and it is arriving in a form you never expected. God says there's a door that has been shut for a long time in your life, a door connected to opportunity, abundance, peace, or healing. That door didn't open earlier because if it had opened too soon, you wouldn't have been ready for what was inside. But now, your heart is stronger, your spirit is wiser, and your faith is deeper. And because of that, the door is opening now. Not next month. Not next year. Now, This message reached you today because something powerful is about to shift in your atmosphere. You may even feel a strange calm right now, like the air around you is different. That's because heaven is close. That's because angels are preparing the path ahead of you. That's because something you've been hoping for is aligning in your favor. God is not asking you to fight anymore. God is asking you to trust. God is asking you to rest. God is asking you to allow the blessings to arrive without fear getting in the way. The worry that has been living inside you is leaving. The overthinking that has been draining you is being silenced. The fear that has kept you awake at night is dissolving. God says you do not need to fear anything. Nothing will go wrong with you. You are divinely protected. No harm will come near your spirit. No negative force will overpower you. No hidden plan will succeed against you. You are shielded by divine authority. God says trust Him now. Trust Him more than your doubts. Trust Him more than your fears. Trust Him more than your memories. Trust Him more than the voices that tried to bring you down. Trust Him more than the pressure that surrounds you. Trust Him more than your circumstances. Because your circumstances are about to change, God says you are safe. You are protected. You are guided. And you are loved in a way that goes beyond human understanding. This message was meant for you. This message reached you because heaven decided you were ready. God says, what comes next will not disappoint you. If you want, I can continue even longer. God says this message has reached you after being blocked 3 times. And you need to understand why heaven insisted that it must finally appear before your eyes. You may think you are simply reading words on a screen, but heaven is watching your heart, your thoughts, your energy, and your moment right now, because something around you shifted in the spiritual realm. Something opened. Something unlocked. And God is saying that if you continue reading with trust, with calmness, and with faith, then everything that felt stuck around you for so long will begin to move again. God says everything you have been praying for quietly, secretly, in the deepest place of your spirit has not been ignored. It has been held, preserved, and protected until the exact moment when you were ready to receive it without fear, without doubt, and without hesitation. And God says that moment is now. God wants you to understand that this message was not sent to scare you, not sent to trouble you, and not sent to confuse you. It was sent to wake you gently, to remind you of something you have forgotten because life has been heavy, people have been draining, and certain disappointments made you close your heart without realizing it. God says, my child, you have carried so much silently. You try to stay strong for everyone, you smile for everyone, you give love to everyone, and even when your own heart felt tired, you kept going because you didn't want anyone to feel unsupported. And all that time, heaven watched you. Heaven studied your patience, heaven listened to your quiet prayers, and heaven knew your time would come. God says something very important is happening around you right now. You are being spiritually shifted out of certain old energies, old memories, old fears, and old disappointments. For years, certain people spoke negative things about you when you weren't around, yet you kept walking with kindness. For years, some people questioned your worth, your path, your dreams, and even your destiny, but you kept going with hope. And now heaven says that everything you endured, everything you tolerated, everything you forgave, is finally being counted. God says nothing you went through was wasted. Every tear, every moment of confusion, every time you felt alone, every time you wondered why something didn't work out, all of it is now becoming part of your blessing. God says that this message being blocked 3 times was not an accident. Heaven allowed the delay because heaven wanted to see how your spirit would respond. Would you give up? Would you stop searching? Or would you continue trusting that somewhere, somehow, your sign would come? And God says you passed the test. You didn't stop believing. You didn't stop hoping. You didn't stop looking for answers. That is why heaven said, "Let them see it now." God says right now, at this moment, a gentle but powerful shift is happening in the unseen for you. You may not feel it physically, but your soul feels it. Something inside you knows this year is not over. Something inside you knows your story has not finished. Something inside you knows a breakthrough is coming, and that is why your spirit feels open while reading this. God says what is coming is not small. What is coming is not ordinary. What is coming is not something you could have created or planned on your own. What is coming is a divine rearrangement of your path, your opportunities, your connections, and your destiny. God says you are not behind in life even though you have felt delayed. You are not forgotten even though you have been quiet. You are not overlooked even though people didn't give you the love you deserved. Heaven has been preparing something that will restore everything you lost, everything you gave, and everything that slipped out of your hands. God says the reason you faced certain setbacks was not because you were being punished, it was because you were being positioned. Positioned for clarity, positioned for strength, positioned for wisdom, positioned for blessings you will be able to hold without losing yourself. God says there is something you need to know right now. Things around you are aligning faster than you think. Someone is going to come forward with something that surprises you. A conversation you thought would never happen again will suddenly take place. A door you thought was permanently closed will quietly open in your favor. God says your name is being spoken in places you have never walked into. Your work is being noticed, your energy is being felt, your kindness is being remembered, and your spirit is being recognized in ways you can't see yet. God says you are safe. You are protected. Nothing will go wrong for you. Even the things that looked like mistakes will become miracles. Even the things that looked like endings were actually beginnings. God says you have been walking through a chapter that felt hidden, and heaven is preparing to reveal the truth about why you walked through certain seasons that made no sense. God says those seasons built your soul. Those seasons strengthened your intuition. Those seasons shaped your destiny. And now you are walking into a season that will show you why you had to wait so long. God says someone tried to block something meant for you. Someone tried to speak against something God prepared for you. Someone tried to interfere with your blessings out of envy, insecurity, and misunderstanding. But God says their attempt failed. Their words failed. Their plans failed. Everything they tried to do behind your back is now dissolving in front of God's presence. God says your blessing will arrive untouched, unspoiled, unaltered, and fully protected. God says you are stepping into a time where things will move quickly. You will feel guided in ways you haven't felt in years. You will receive intuitive nudges that make sense. You will feel an unusual peace even when you don't know the whole plan. God says trust that peace. Trust that feeling. That is heaven whispering to your soul. That is heaven telling you that you are not alone, not even for 1 second. God says you don't have to worry about your future anymore. You don't have to worry about losing anything. You don't have to worry about what people think. You don't have to worry about what wasn't given to you before. Heaven is about to make it up to you in ways that will overwhelm your spirit with gratitude. God says a blessing is coming that will make you say, everything finally makes sense. God says you reached this message for a reason. This is not coincidence. This is alignment. Heaven made sure this message reached you now, not earlier, not later, because your heart is finally ready to receive the truth. God has been working behind the scenes in silence, in patience, and in love, preparing something for you that will change the course of your life. God says you are walking into restoration. You are walking into clarity. You are walking into abundance. You are walking into peace. You are walking into divine timing. You are walking into miracles. And God says you are safe while doing it. Nothing will harm you, nothing will disrupt you, and nothing will confuse you. You are surrounded by divine protection and divine love. God says pray, trust, breathe, and receive. Everything is unfolding exactly as it should. Heaven is with you. God is with you. And this message was meant only for you. God says this message reached you after being blocked 3 times, and the moment it reached you now is not an accident. God says, let them see it now. What you're about to open was meant only for you. These words are not coming to you randomly in the middle of your day, they are unfolding because something in the unseen, something in the spiritual realm, shifted in your favor. God is making sure that nothing stops this message from touching your heart this time. Every moment you are reading right now is being protected by divine hands. And every sentence that flows here is wrapped with God's assurance that you are safe, guarded, and fully watched over. There is no danger in this message, there is only clarity, support, and reassurance. God wants you to breathe, to relax, to know that nothing will go wrong for you. He is covering you, guiding you, and lighting a path you didn't even know existed. This message comes to you because something inside you has been heavy for so long. You have been carrying worries, silent fears, quiet questions, and doubts that nobody knows about. You keep moving, you keep smiling, you keep functioning, yet your soul has been whispering for answers. God has heard every whisper, even the ones you never spoke out loud. That is why this message was blocked 3 times. Every time the enemy tried to distract you, God said no. Every time something tried to pull your attention away, God put His hand out to stop it. And now He finally said, "Let them see it now." Because the exact moment you are reading this is the moment you were meant to receive the reassurance you've been waiting for, God says you have doubted your own strength lately. Situations around you made you question yourself. Some people made you feel like you weren't enough, like you weren't appreciated, like you were being overlooked. But God wants you to know that none of that is a reflection of your worth. In fact, the reason you have felt spiritually blocked or emotionally drained is because you are stepping into a season where God is planning to restore you, prepare you, and strengthen you. The discomfort you felt lately wasn't punishment, it was preparation. You may not see it yet, but God is rearranging the things around you in ways that will make sense very soon. Nothing that is leaving your life is a loss, nothing that is shifting is a threat. It is God clearing space, God removing noise, God protecting you before the blessing arrives. That is why He says you are safe. Nothing will go wrong with you. Even situations that seem uncertain right now are quietly turning in your favor. God knows how many times you almost gave up. Not just physically giving up, but emotionally shutting down. You kept going even when your spirit felt tired. You kept trusting even on the days when your faith felt like a small candle flickering in the wind. And even then, God didn't let that candle die out. He shielded it with His own hands until it grew again. He saw the nights when your heart was heavy but you didn't share it with anyone. He saw the moments when you tried to be strong even though you secretly needed strength yourself. And because He saw all of this, He chose today, this exact moment, to speak to you directly. You weren't supposed to see this earlier. This message was held back so it could land perfectly when your soul was ready to receive it. And now it is here. You have been questioning some things in your life, some relationships, some choices, some directions, some sudden changes that left you confused. You kept praying for confirmation, a sign, a feeling, anything that would tell you you're not alone in this. God says this is that confirmation. The shift you are sensing is not random. The people who suddenly pulled away didn't leave because you did something wrong. The opportunities that didn't work out didn't fail because you lacked something. The delays weren't a sign of rejection, they were a sign of protection. God blocked what wasn't meant to harm you, even if it looked good from the outside. God is moving slowly but surely, making sure that when the blessing comes, it does not bring sorrow with it. And now God wants to remind you of something very important. You are not behind in life. You are not late. You are not stuck. You are not forgotten. God says, you are exactly where I need you to be right now. Every experience you had this year, Every disappointment, every confusion, every delay, has shaped your path for something bigger. You think you've been paused, but God says you have been positioned. Positioned for breakthroughs, clarity, and opportunities that were not prepared before. Positioned for connections that are aligned with your destiny. Positioned for abundance that would have overwhelmed you had it arrived earlier. Positioned for a version of yourself that is stronger, wiser, calmer, and more spiritually aligned. You are not lost, you are being guided. God says He has been protecting you from people you didn't even know you needed protection from. Sometimes you felt distance growing between you and certain individuals, and it hurt. But God says the distance wasn't rejection, it was redirection. You don't know the conversations that happened behind your back. You don't know the intentions that weren't pure. You don't know the things spoken in silence. But God does. And before you got hurt, before anything could affect your peace, God stepped in. He created separation to save you. He removed people who were taking more than they were giving. He exposed truths through intuition. Dreams, sudden discomfort, or unexpected silence. He did all of this not to isolate you, but to elevate you. God also wants you to know that the blessing coming your way is not small. It is not temporary. It is not something that can be taken away. What God is planning for you is long-lasting, stable, meaningful, and divinely aligned. You have been faithful even when life felt unfair. You stayed kind even when people took advantage of your kindness. You stayed supportive even when you didn't receive the same energy. You loved with a pure heart even when others didn't love you the same way. God saw all of it. Every act of goodness that went unnoticed by humans was seen by heaven. And God is preparing to return it to you in a multiplied way. He also wants to speak directly to your fear. That quiet fear that keeps returning. That little voice that says, "What if things go wrong?" God says no. Nothing will go wrong with you. You are safe. You are covered. You are protected. You are watched over. You are not stepping into danger, you are stepping into a shift. A spiritual shift. An emotional shift. A financial shift. A personal shift. You feel it already, something inside you is changing. You may not be able to explain it, but there is a sense that something big is coming. God confirms it. Something is coming. Something meant for you. Something carrying peace, stability, restoration, and joy. God says you need to keep trusting Him the same way you have been. Even when you didn't understand His plan. He is not asking you to worry, He is asking you to rest. He is not asking you to fear, He is asking you to breathe. He is not asking you to fight everything alone, He is asking you to let Him take over. Your prayers have been heard. Your tears have been counted. Your patience has been acknowledged. And now your life is about to experience a divine shift. not a small one. Not an uncertain one. A clear, powerful, intentional shift designed only for you. The spiritual interference that tried to block you earlier is gone. The heaviness that used to follow you is lifting. The confusion that clouded your mind is fading. The cycle that kept repeating is ending. God says the door that was blocked 3 times is now open. Nothing can stop what He has planned for you. No timing issue, no delay, no fear, no doubt, no negativity. You are stepping into a season where everything becomes clearer, where everything starts aligning, where everything that felt stagnant begins to move, and God says something even deeper. The reason you are reading this right now is because something beautiful is coming your way unexpectedly. Something that will restore your faith in timing, in destiny, in divine alignment. Something that will make you say, "Now I understand why it didn't happen earlier." God is preparing to show you that He never left you. He was always working behind the scenes. Putting things together piece by piece. God says you are not forgotten. You are chosen. You are protected. You are guided. And you are loved, deeply, endlessly, unconditionally. Keep trusting. Keep praying. Keep moving forward gently. The message that was blocked 3 times finally reached you because it was meant only for you. You are safe. Nothing will go wrong with you. God is with you. And your breakthrough is closer than you think.